Okay, so a while ago, I made a video about Pokemon Sword and Shield, the upcoming Pokemon project from Nintendo and Game Freak. And I dug into it pretty hard because we didn't know much about the game yet at that point, but one of the few things that we did know was that we weren't getting every Pokemon in the game. And saying it like that makes it sound like every single Pokemon has always been available right from the start in every single Pokemon game ever. And that's just not the case. But by the post-game of every past Pokemon game, every Pokemon from every previous game was at least available for use in the game if you could get it. You could use the new game as a platform for using that Pokemon in battle, whether in post-game content or in competitive. But one of the few things that we did know was that that wasn't going to be the case this time. There was going to be the initial Pokédex of Pokemon available for use in the actual gameplay portion of the game, but there wouldn't be a national Pokédex in the post-game which expanded that roster. That some Pokemon were just going to be unplayable in Sword and Shield. And so I dug into the game pretty hard. I wasn't seeing much else from those initial reveals, which I thought justified cutting all of those Pokemon. And I will freely admit that the bring back the National Dex controversy, as it's called, at least last time I checked, the whole thing still bugs me. I still wish it weren't the case, but hearing Game Freak address it a few more times and justify their decision in different ways, I can at least see their point of view, and I'm man enough to admit that I was being very passionate and very reactionary in that initial video that I made. I said effectively something similar in my first response to my own video, where I effectively landed on being cautiously optimistic about the games instead of straight up decrying them overall. And frankly, I shouldn't have made that video in the first place. I think a lot of the people who made negative videos about Sword and Shield back in that rough period of time, I don't think any of them should have made videos at that point, because we didn't know much about the game, and everything that I've seen about it since then, for the most part, has been, I think, positive. Like, there are still some Pokemon in this game that don't need to be there, they're just there because they're popular, and it does seem unfair that they would cut some Pokemon who are rough counterparts to a few of these. I'm talking about Charizard specifically, obviously, because they cut Squirtle, Wartortle, and Blastoise, and Bulbasaur, Ivysaur, and Venusaur, but not Charmander, Charmeleon, and Charizard. It seems unfair that that would be the case. I do think that that's a mistake. Game Freak shows a lot of favoritism towards Charizard and Pikachu and Eevee, and I get it. I love Charizard, I love Pikachu, but they don't need the kind of favoritism that they're shown. And I still think the game's graphics could be better, but everything else, I'm liking it. I'm liking where these games seem to be going. I no longer think that the fact that we weren't shown much at that initial reveal means that these games are going to be devoid of content. I no longer think that removing the National Dex from the post-game of this Pokemon experience was laziness on Game Freak's part. And I have gone from being cautiously optimistic about these games to being excited about them. And that's even without seeing any of the leaks, which I have heard mixed things about, but most of the things I've heard about them suggest that they're mostly positive, except maybe the final designs of the starters, which some people weren't happy with, but whatever. People are never universally happy with the final evolutions of the starter Pokemon. And so I'm officially announcing with this video, which is going on longer than I wanted, so I'm going to wrap it up. Hopefully it doesn't seem too rambly. I'm basically ad-libbing this thing. But I am announcing that I've decided to give Game Freak the benefit of the doubt. In fact, I bought the game. I pre-bought the game. I will have it on release day. I purchased a physical copy because I'm 73 years old and don't understand how downloadable content works. Now, it's mostly for the box. I want the box to put on a shelf. And I'm even going to take a crack at Let's Playing the game because I am still unsure of how this experience is going to play out, so I am going to go into this thing significantly more tentatively than I have past Pokemon experiences, and it sounds fun to drag you guys along with me when I do that. But yeah, that's why this video is titled what it is. Don't expect the first actual episode of the Let's Play on release day. I've never used a capture card before. I am 100% sure that I am going to take a little bit of time, at least a few days, and to really get comfortable with it. And there is a reasonable chance that this series is just gonna fall flat on its face and not actually get completed, because I am just that technically inept. But if everything goes well, you guys will experience Pokemon Sword version right along with me, and we can discover together at the same time whether or not it's a worthwhile Pokemon experience. Just because this is technically a prelude to that Let's Play, let's actually prelude that Let's Play a little bit. I'm going to be playing Pokemon Sword, as I mentioned before, mostly because Sirfetch'd is, I mean, he's a meme, and I like memes, and also he stabs things, and I think that's cool. And he's only available in Sword. A friend of mine's getting Shield version, though. He's going to do his best to catch me a Galarian Ponyta, because I also want to use one of those. But if he can't, or if for whatever reason he can't trade it over to me, I just won't use one. I like Sirfetch'd a little bit better. And I guess the only thing left to do, really, is explain why I'm going to be naming my character, what I'm going to be naming my character. My character is going to be named Hiro, after one of the default name choices from the original Pokemon Gold version, a localization of the name Hiroki, which, just as a brief aside, I was super mad that Hiro did not come back as a default name choice in Heart Gold version, even though one of the Japanese default name choices was still Hiroki, and there was also another name they could have localized as Hiro, and they didn't localize either one of them to Hiro. It really made me mad because I got really attached to this name. I don't know why it jumped out at me as a kid, but it did, to the point that, like, when I was a baby AJ on the internet, I wasn't AJ. I was some variation of Hiro, usually with another word tacked on before it or after it. And my experience playing Pokemon Gold version was a very formative experience in my baby AJ life, and so no matter how much I distance myself from that initial experience, no matter how much I acknowledge that Heart Gold, the remake, was in every way objectively a superior product, I am never going to be able to completely separate myself from the name Hiro, which is why every time I have picked up a new Pokemon game since then to play through it for the first time, with the exception of Pokemon White 2 being a direct sequel to White 1, but with a different protagonist, I have named my character Hiro and tried to justify how he could be the same character moving from region to region, the same way that Ash Ketchum does in the anime. Yes, that's silly. It's just how I play the game, which is why I'll be naming my character the same thing for this playthrough rather than AJ or AJ22 or something similar. Yes, this has been quite the turnaround from that initial Pokemon Sword and Shield video. Yes, I could take that video down and just never mention it again, but I'm going to own up to the fact that I think I made a mistake in reacting to the controversy the way that I did. Call me weak, say that I don't have any integrity, say that I'm just selling out, that I'm just trying to soak in views. Say what you want, this is still what I'm doing, and I hope that I have fun doing it. That's really my only motivation here, and my motivation for telling you all of this instead of just pretending like I'm still mad at the game to preserve some image of myself on this channel is because I hope that you guys will have some fun along the way with me. That said, though, guys, if you are at all interested in Pokemon, I hope I will see you for that Let's Play. In the meantime, though, this has been AJ22, and I will talk to you guys later.